yourself, sir. Excuse me, sir. You can unmute yourself. You are muted. Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's what we call free market system. Another word for free market system is what they call capitalist. Where you have capitalists, majority of business and investment in free markets are owned by individuals and not government. And so when you go to economic like America, that's what you find there. But when you come to a place like Nigeria, what you have is not free market system. Okay? What we have here is a mixed system whereby you have both the government and individual having responsibility of ownership of businesses. So having said this, and you have understood from our last class, your understanding from our last class has shown you that we can have public and private. And I gave us the characteristics in our last class. So today, after studying with us in this session, you'll be able to define a state-owned enterprises, and you'll also be able to define public-private partnership. Be able to state the characteristics and features of state-owned corporation or a public enterprise. Distinguish between a private and a public sector enterprise. Identify the various models of public-private partnership. Differentiate between privatization and commercialization. So please pay pin drop attention as we move together. There are some key terms that you need there to be familiarized with. One, there's what we call state-owned corporation or public enterprise, private sector enterprises, privatization, commercialization, full commercialization, partial commercialization. A state-owned enterprise or public corporation can also be known as state-owned company, state enterprise, publicly owned corporation, government business enterprise, government-owned company or corporation. Now, before we move on, let me offer you some quick clarification. Some of you probably you are working with government, some of you maybe federal government, state or local government. And probably some of you are working with, you are employed by private companies. Now, let me put this one very clear to us. Private companies, they essentially go after profit. They want to make profit. But we have been made to believe over time that public or state-owned corporation, or what we call public enterprises, their primary intention is not profit making. That's why you see general hospital, and what you pay in general hospital if you go there is relatively low because it's what? It's state-owned. It's owned by the state. What they will collect from you is relatively low compared to what you will pay if you go to a private hospital. So you find out that you are using government road and you are not paying anything. Nobody is collecting anything from you for using government road. But if it is individual that has constructed the road, they will collect money from you for using the road. I don't know how many of you have experienced that. I've experienced it on a number of occasions. There is a road in Onipan, they call it Kayode Road or something like that in Onipan. If you are driving through that road, they will collect no fee from you. Why? Because it was built by an individual. But if it is fully government owned, nobody will take anything from you. The same thing, the schooling. You want to go to school now, and you are attending University of Lagos. What you are paying in University of Lagos now, you are paying it. Is that affordable? Because it's owned by government. If you go to a school, a university that is running similar program and it is owned by private individuals, they might collect probably times 20 of what you are paying. Are we getting what I'm saying? For you to have the clearer knowledge that when we say state-owned, you can see I'm giving you practical examples. I'm giving you example of hospital, I'm giving you example of road, I'm giving you example of school, and the list can go on like that. Most assets were in those days in Lagos State when water corporation was working very well. Nobody asked you to pay for the water you are using. But if you want to get water now, even from those the pushers who are pushing them in keg now, you have to pay for them because that person using a trolley to push water in the keg is running it to make profits. It's running it to make profits. So essentially, government run corporations in order to make welfare available and affordable to as many people as possible. How many people can afford the bill of private hospitals? How many people? How many? But you see government, and that's why when you get to where the government operation and all the enterprise are, you see queue. Many people are there because these are the people who ordinarily will not be able to afford what the private people are offering. And that's why you see that we talk about welfareism. The essence, the primary thing that drives government into owning any business at all, one, is to make them available as what? As social responsibility. Make those services or products available as what? Social services. You see government in transportation as well now. You see railway corporation. You see Lagos state government into transportation, all this BRT and whatever. And what they are charging is relatively small compared to what the private transporters will charge you. If you see states where their government put vehicles down for interstate transportation, we discover that it's very, very cheap. See Ogun State, they have that kind of a thing. Where I don't know how many of you have entered, I think I've entered it once. If you look at what private people will take from you to take you from Lagos to Abeokuta, it's almost like ×5 compared to what government is taking. Why? Because they are giving welfare. So that you can see, I've mentioned quite many in terms of transportation, in terms of road, in terms of hospital, in terms of school. And, for you to see that government actually come into businesses. They offer those things cheaply. Why? Because they don't come there with the intention that we are here to make profit and to maximize profit. I'm going somewhere. I've analyzed all those things to you now. Now, why we say government come into all these businesses and it's not with the intention to make profit? There are situations whereby exception comes in. Government needs money to do so many things. Government needs to expand. Maybe government has one hospital and there's so many that is needed in many local government and in so many places. Government needs money to do them. Then gradually government begin to say, okay, instead of doing it absolutely free, let us begin to charge some money. Anything you are doing and you don't charge any money, it's not commercialized. It's not what? Commercialized. But at a point where you begin to charge money, no matter how little, for what you are offering, then commercialization has what? Set in. And so there's what we call in government business, in government enterprises, in government operations now, there's what we now call MDAs. MDAs. I say for the third time, MDAs. What are MDAs? Ministry, department, and agencies. Sometimes they say subsidiary. Ministry, department, agencies, and subsidiaries. Now, most ministries, they may not run after profit making. But when you begin to move to department, they may not also be too much deep into profiteering. But from that department, agency, up to subsidiary, you see some of them now that government begins to make sure they are commercialized in a way. So the way they commercialize, you cannot compare it to the private. For instance, I'm telling you now, there was a time in this country where education, even the university, is absolutely free. But now, you are paying school fees. You can say, well, it has been commercialized. Yes, because now they have to provide electricity. They have to put so many things in place, whereby some little money that comes in can be used to augment. It's not for profiteering. It's not for, when you are looking for real profiteering, go and check what the privates are charging for what they do. So today you see departments, you see some agencies. If you go to Nigerian Port Authority now, it's an agency under Ministry of Finance. They are not running things freely. So they may not charge as heavily as what their private counterpart will charge. But they no longer run them free of charge. So commercialization has what? Coming. So there are some agents, there are some ministries today, for instance, Ministry of Defense, for instance. You don't collect money for anything. But the money you are making from Nigerian Port Authority, the money you are making from Nigerian Customs, you use some of this money to finance those places where money is not coming in for you. Are we getting all these concepts now? Do you see where the concept of commercialization comes in now? Because government needs money to sponsor enterprises. Government needs money. And because government needs money to sponsor these enterprises, government will begin to say, okay, let us begin to run it in such a way that we begin to charge fees, little fees. That is not absolute. And you know, naturally, the nature of human beings, we don't even appreciate something that is absolutely free. We take it for granted. But when something is not absolutely free, we begin to see reason why we should follow it. Now, privatization. Privatization. When a business is being run by government, are we still hearing me so that we not experience what we had last week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when we say privatize, where are we coming from? Individuals have their own businesses. Government have its own businesses too. That's why we say what? Government's own corporation, public enterprise. Now, if what government owns as a business, government say, okay, since we have been running it, all our efforts to really even break even is not really justified. The money we make is not even enough to run it, even we say we have commercialized in a way. And so we see a lot of embezzlement. You know, when you say government business, you see a lot of corruption there. Even if you are working there and you say you are not corrupt, and you want to check those people are corrupt, they will point finger into your face and say, is it your father's business? Get lost. So corruption is the highest in such places because people have the mentality and nobody, because it's not a private business, nobody is passionate about it, that this thing should not die or this thing should not go down. Nobody is passionate. So when a kind of business has gotten to that point, and government discover that the more they put in money into it, the more they even suffer loss because some people are embezzling it and mismanaging and all sorts of things that usually occur in government business. So it gets to some time that government will now say, okay, we cannot afford to continue to go in this trend. Let's allow private persons to take over. So the process of government removing its stand from being owner of a business, transferring the owner of the business to private individuals is what we call privatization. Privatization. So the necessary documents and the procedures will be put in place. And so whosoever meets that condition will take over the business. It becomes a private business, from government business to a private business. Movement of a business, okay, from government owned to private owned is what is called privatization. In some cases, government may not back out completely, but government will say, okay, we'll be retaining 30%, let the private take 70%. So what they have technically done in that case is that they have transferred the management responsibility. The management of that business, the responsibility of managing it, they now transfer it to the private. And in most cases, when government does that, you see that the business refertilizes. Because you as a person listening to me, that you cannot put your money in a business and allow anybody to invest with. No! You cannot put your money in a business and somebody is not coming to office and they are paying that person. No! You cannot own your business and where 10 people are meant to be working and they employ 50 people there. We start saying, no. This is place. It's 10 people that should be there, employ them there. Unlike in government business, where 3 people supposed to be, they employ 30 people to work there. So how will it run at a profit? How will it be able to survive itself? Okay? So you hear statements like Parastata and all what have you. For instance, you have a Ministry of Finance. Under Ministry of Finance, naturally, that's where you find like CBN, that's where you find Nigerian Customs, that's where you find SON, that's where you find Nigerian Port Authority, and quite a number of others. So all those ones, they are not the ministry directly, but they are now parastatals under the ministry. They are not answerable to what? To the minister in charge of the ministry. So government is doing everything possible to run business, but a business that becomes so difficult for government to run and survive appropriately, government privatizes it. So in essence, privatization is a concept. Okay? It's a concept which government can use at its discretion. Though the way it has been used in Nigeria in some cases seems to have been questionable. Why? Because you'll find cases whereby they will say a corporation is privatized, and by the time you get to the bottom of it, it's some key individuals in the government that bought it indirectly. So when it is like that, people will have reason to criticize. And that's part of the criticism they are raising against some people now who are planning to be saying they are top politicians and this and that. People are telling them that when you empower, you privatize practically everything. And when the finding was done, they discovered that those things you privatize, you use your cronies to buy them. So if privatization is going to be done, it should be done in spirit and in good faith. Privatization should be done in good spirit and in good faith. Okay? So it is not a crime for government to own a business. It is not a crime for business to be privatized. But the whole process leading to it in an online class. Can we still hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're still with you.
Okay, sorry. I want to be sure we're on the same page. So government will keep on running business. But when government can no longer survive running a business, the best thing is what? To allow private individuals. Private individuals don't allow people to come and steal from them. They will put everything in place. You hear Dangote. He said they spend more money on security in their business. He said because majority of people who are coming to work, they want to leave work on daily basis, stealing one thing or the other. They want to remove something from certain machine, put it in their pocket to go and sell outside. So they spend a lot of money on CCTV. They spend a lot of money on hiring security people, spend a lot of money training them. You know, I know he has a lot of Indians working for him. And Indians don't believe in Nigerians that Nigerians are good behavior people. So those people in the top management, the majority of them are Indian. And they have actually apprehended so many Nigerians. And Dangote was saying that if that now this business came to Nigeria to be able to generate money and not just for, but to help Nigeria in terms of foreign currency, job for people, make life comfortable. But people are working their stealing. Now, assuming it's owned by government, that's why in NNPC today, you'll be hearing that they are asking them to account for 20 trillion and there's no way to account for it. Dangote will not allow it to happen in his business. Somebody has known. I was reading somewhere, he said at a time he could not proceed with his refinery business. He needed money to go ahead at a stage when he was building it. He mentioned one man, a big man in this country. He said he contacted that one said we raised $20 billion for him. He said that one never responded along the line. So that's why he didn't relate with that man again for life. But mention the name, you will know the person. He now say another person was able to raise him $300 million. That from here and there was eventually able to raise $500 million. Will you as an individual raise such money and allow them to run it down for you? Corrupt people to come and grant the business for you? No. But it is happening in NNPC, owned by government. Can you see? It's happening. 3 refineries in Nigeria have gone under. They have gone under, no longer working. You see what happens in government organizations? Some of you are working in government organizations. A friend was telling us one time, some years ago, when I was doing my second master's degree in Unilab, somebody who was an advisor, a special advisor then to the government that be in those days, was telling us that intentionally in government, they will slow down the process of implementing budgets for a particular year. They will not implement it. This money is meant to do this, so it's meant to do road. This money is meant to fix hospital. This money is meant to build a railway. This money is meant to, you know. They will slow everything down. They will not implement anything. And towards the end of the year, they will not say they are starting this project, they are starting that one. So at the end of the day, the money voted for that year, maybe they don't spend up to 10% out of it. And they will not return the money that is left. They will not return it to the coffers of the government. All of them will gather themselves together and share it. You see the corruption we are talking about? I'm telling you, an advisor in the government regime was the one who told us then. Okay? So why we advocate that yes, it's good for government to be in business so that things that are meant to be social amenities will be easily affordable and accessible to us. Those people government hire to work in those places, they are running those places down. They are eating them to the bone and marrow. So it has demerit, it has disadvantages to the government. You have Nigerian Port Authority. Do you know how much is leaking away through all sorts of sharp practices? Nigerian Railway Corporation, Nigerian Television Authority, the Power Holding Company of Nigeria. If you know how much, we've talked about NNPC. All these are various businesses being run by government. But if you go to their private counterpart, those who have the private counterpart, you discover they are moving perfectly well. And that's why free market economy, where private people are the ones running the business. Government does not have any idea that somebody is going to steal their money because it's in the hand of private. Show me one private person that will own a business and will allow somebody to go into his business and be stealing. They put CCTV every day, everywhere. They do management meeting every Monday. And like that, they follow up every cover. If they release every cover for you, you want to use it to implement a particular thing, they make you to accountable for it for the very last cover. I pray God will help our country. I pray God will help our country. Students cheating in exam, how are they different from those people who are running down the public enterprises we are talking about? How are they different from those corrupt people we are talking about? That's how it goes. That's where it started. Yes, they are corporation, they are this, they are that, they are owned by government. Government is employing large number of people. Yes, they have advantages. They have advantages. Because where government does not employ large number of people and many people are roaming on the street, crime will rise because people who don't have money, they say an empty, empty hand or whatever, is the devil's playground or whatever. Insecurity and all the, banditry we see now, largely is as a result of what? Poor economy. We have some people, they don't have job to do. Some people, anybody can easily hire them to go and cause mayhem and give them some token for that. And all what have you. And you see them, they go and disrupt. So government knows that there is advantage to the nation if government is into business. Because number one, if you check it very well, government usually employ large number of people. Government is not foolish. Okay? Government is not foolish. So what government does now is that they allow some of their parastatals to be run by experts. So it's still owned by government. That's why you see Nigerian Port Authority is bringing up in money. Those are the places government is getting money. Nigerian Customs, Maritime, and quite a few others like that. They are making money from Nigerian Railway Corporation. They're supposed to be making huge money also from NNPC. So you can see corruption rocking all those places. And they do all those things, they put professionals in place. But once you say it's a government-owned corporation, the characteristics of what? Inefficiency will always be there. We always what? Be there. Because at the end of the day, those people running them, even as autonomous as they are, they will be reporting to government or political appointees, maybe board of trustees, or they are reporting to minister, or somehow. We discovered that you cannot separate their entire activities from the rottenness that has been rocking the system. Yes, state control them, fine. But they run perfectly well at the end of the day. If you get to know what is leaking from Nigerian Port Authority, you put your finger in your mouth and be biting it. Even they are reporting that. Go and check the top people in customs, how wealthy they are. They are personally. If you check their salary, they cannot near some of those works they are parading in 100 years. Okay? I pray once again, God will help our country. The level of accountability there is very, very low. Okay? Level of accountability among them is very, very low. Some of them, they assume that they are financially independent and they do what they like with what's supposed to be the nation's fund. Okay? So having said so much about all this government, I want us to move now and we now look at what we call public-private partnership. I've mentioned about all this exploitation. Okay? But let's now look at what we call public-private partnership. Yes, government-owned business is fine. Are there instances whereby government run business and it runs it together with private? We have looked at the scenario where, okay, government runs this, so we call it government business, we call it state business, we call it corporate enterprise, and so on and so forth. And we have looked at their advantages and their respective disadvantages. And we have looked at them, public and private compare. In profit terms, they make more money from private because they manage it in the most prudent way. In public, it is not managed in prudent manner. People at the end of affairs, they are personally involved about they can get rich by themselves. So when they are making 1 naira for government, they are keeping 10 naira in their own pocket, sharing it among themselves. We have seen all those characteristics, things that differentiate. Majority of this that I've said now, you can see differentiation. What makes the private and public different from one another? But then, when you now have private and it's doing well, and you have government too, that in its own way is doing as it has known to always been doing, which has led government to say, okay, we want to privatize. That's what led to privatization of Nitel. Nitel was the only telecommunication company in Nigeria in the past. But when Obasanjo came on board in 1999, when he came on board in 1999, he was able to privatize. No, not even the privatization. The word then was deregulation. The word was what? Deregulation. Deregulation is when you allow private people to come on board, to come and participate in a particular industry and be competing with the government own that is existing there. So deregulation took place. When deregulation took place, it means that government now issue license to private individuals to also become owners, to set up their own telecommunication business. So we had two then, the one they call opponents and the one they call MTN. And the moment they came on board, the leg of the government own started shaking. He changed his name from Nitel to another name, like that. Eventually, it died. It died because it cannot compete with the private ones in place. Now, public-private partnership. What brings about public-private partnership, and what are the benefits, or what is public-private partnership? Public-private partnership is an arrangement whereby certain business or certain line of business is jointly owned by both private and government, by both private individual and government. Government will play certain parts, private will also play certain, and I have different examples I can give you. For instance, in Lagos State, waste disposal system is under public-private. And I will explain to you. Government discovered that the government doesn't find it easy to say they are the one who will employ staff and create either a ministry, employ staff there. Is those staff that will manage that will purchase and manage the vehicle. Is those staff they have employed that will oversee the evacuation of waste and deposit of those things in the dump site. Of course, if government say they want to run it fully, they will run it. But the same characteristics that you see in corporation and enterprise also manifest there. You will find a situation whereby they will buy a vehicle today, and some individuals will keep on removing parts from it. And we'll be hearing every day the vehicle breaks down because some people want to keep on making money from the breakdown vehicle every day. And so you now see that waste will be mounting on every street because there are some people who are profiteering at the expense of the government and the masses. So there are some businesses that now, today, if you want to see impact, you have to run it together with what? Private. Because the private arm there will not allow the business to be messed up because they want to make sure there is justification for their investment. They want to monitor their investment, and there is justification. So I give you an example of the waste disposal in Lagos State. Government provide the road, government provide the dump site. And so government allow individuals to make arrangements to deploy vehicles that will evacuate those wastes. Okay, when they evacuate those wastes, the money should be paid into recommended accounts. The private individuals will ensure that each household will be captured. And so at the end of the day, the money that comes in, they will determine the sharing formula. Government will say, we are the one who have all the roads you are using. We are the one who provided the dump site being used. So these are the areas where we have contributed. And these are the areas we have contributed. So what's the sharing formula we are going to use? So they will agree on that even before they go on board. And you see that the system keeps moving. The system keeps what? Moving. Those of you who knew Lagos many years back, when private partnership was not in place in the area of waste disposal, you knew how Lagos looked like? How some streets will be practically blocked by waste. Do you see that again? No. By the way, I want to pause. Are you still hearing me? Hello? Hello? Are we still hearing me?
Yes, I was still here.
Okay, thank you, because I want to be sure we are together. So that's the concept of what? Public-private partnership. And that's why you see private universities today. In some cases, when we talk about public-private partnership, you understand? One thing you should bear in mind is that government does not have enough resources to provide everything required in some specific business. And that's why when you go to airports today, you will see certain aspects that private individuals are the one absolutely in charge. Certain aspects, you see that it's private individuals that are what? Completely in charge. So you see also in the area of transportation, you can see partnership. The BRT you are seeing is also a kind of partnership. Some states, they will put some money down to buy some vehicles for interstate, okay? And they will allow private individuals to run that business. So government will have decided that, okay, this is the sharing formula. And you discover that those kind of business, they survive, they go well because of private that is involved. Embezzlement will be very rare because private people, they don't allow their money to be embezzled though. They don't allow. They have come into business to make profit, to stay long in business. So we have to get all this very right. Even in the area of road, like the Ayodele road I mentioned to you now in Onipan, there are some arrangements. Even with Dangote now, I know one of the major highway in Lagos that was constructed by one powerful billionaire. And so when the billionaire was going to, the business billionaire was going to do that road, major road, there was an agreement that if it does this in partnership with government, for a certain number of years, government will not collect tax from him. It's a partnership. The kind of day I was telling you about, it was a partnership with government that's okay. Eventually, this road will be transferred to government. But you can build this road, operate it for a number of years, be collecting toll on it for that number of years. But after that number of years, you don't have to collect anything. It becomes normal government property and everybody will use it freely. Government does not have enough funds to be able to tar every road that needed to be tarred. Government does not have money to provide all that will make life comfortable for individuals. And so sometimes government will allow to partner with certain individuals in order to go into such businesses. We want people to be in good health, for instance. Very good health. It's people who are healthy that will be able to go and work and move the economy of Nigeria forward. And for people to be good way of disposing our waste. Where there is no proper disposal of waste and all those things, the health implication can be very. So to have healthy environment, you need partnership for waste disposal. So government understand all those strategic areas where partnership is required, but government does not have all it takes to be able to run them effectively. Sometimes government may have money, but can they run it effectively? And like I told you, that's what brought about the concept of what? Privatization. Because how will I be running business? The more you put money fund into it, the more you invest into it, the more you don't even see anything to show for it. It's okay, enough is enough. Let's give it to private persons to run. But don't let us just give everything. Let us retain certain percentage so that when this person is making money, we'll also be earning some. And you discover that what government has been running, and it's always story that they don't make income. They privatize it, and it begins to make income. And when they pay the portion of government, government is happy. Are we still together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are benefits. There are benefits both to the government and to the private persons involved. It's a form of franchise and it's a benefit because it's not an individual alone now that will bring all the money that is involved. It's sharing the burden with what? With the government. So it's helping government in a way to take care of its limitation. And government is also helping in a way too, because government is also shouldering responsibility. You know how much it will take if private person is the one that will go and provide all the dump site. You know how big, how large they are, what it will cost them to put such a thing in place. But government says, okay, we provide that. So it makes life easy for investors who are enjoying, who are participating in what? In such arrangement. So it makes mechanism easily accessible. These private people, they have what we call ability to bring efficiency into place. But when the government now operate with them, then they now operate it in a larger scale to maximize the benefits that is possible from such arrangement. Number three, if there's any risk at all, the risk will not be borne by just the private person alone. It has to be shared. And so when you are running a business that is public-private partnership business, government will not just wake up one day and bring a policy in place to affect that your business, because government is also part of that business. You know, many people will say we are waiting for government budget, this and that. They are waiting whether there is going to be any policy along the line that will affect their business. But when you are into partnership with government, government will not bring out any policy or any rule or any condition that will be attacking their own investment. No. So when you do that, it minimizes your risk. And if there's any form of risk at all, government is sharing in it with you. And so to resolve it at the government level becomes easier for you. It enhances diversity. It enhances what? The possible use of diversity. You have best skill in this area. The best skill of government is in the other area. Then you bring it together. It's a diversity. Where you are the best, government is not the best in that area. Private ones are the best in the area of prudency in management of resources. Government is not. When you bring the two together, they complement each other. They complement each other. And they constitute benefit to you as a private person coming on board. So when we talk about PPP, it has benefits both to the private person involved and to the government that is also offering that platform. So it's a very, very germane thing that we should understand, that public-private partnership is already in place. It's not something that is being contemplated. It's already being used in Nigeria. And that's why I've mentioned quite a number of examples to you in this class today. Okay? It may face challenges in the area of political commitment. Government may just go into that kind of arrangement, and government may not be politically showing the willingness. That may be a challenge. Okay? Fiscal conditions, shortage of government financial resources. Sometimes, too, just like I've said, government does not have money to do everything they needed to do. So even the area that, okay, you private bring in this money, public bring in this money, sometimes because government has so many things it wants to put money into, that arrangement may not be too easy for government sometimes too, because they also have some other things to put money into. Institutional support, lack of or low trust between the private and the public sector. So when that is in place, the growth and the acceleration become a source of concern. And that's why you see some road, they will start it if it is going to be a tolled road. If the person who has entered into the public private-public partnership arrangement is expecting government to take care of certain things, and the fund of government is not coming to take care of the aspect it's supposed to take care of, they discover that you may be seeing that the growth of it might begin to dwindle. So we also have issue of social acceptance. Is the issue of the citizens or communities accepting the infrastructure. Look at the one on the Lekki axis. When the road was completed as a sort of public-private partnership, and it was being tolled, and toll was being collected, there was no social acceptance. People were like, and they are paying tax. If any road is in place, why should toll be collected on the road? No, they got it wrong. They got it wrong. And that's why you are listening to us now, when you see people who are making all those kind of comments, you are in position now to enlighten them. Let them understand that this arrangement is not an arrangement to allow individuals to partner with government so that government can easily deliver what will make life comfortable to people. So PPP is meant to contribute. It's meant to what? To contribute to the economy in collaboration with the government. In collaboration with the government. And we have told us that private and government comes together in order to what? To form what we call public-private partnership. So under PPP, what we are basically saying is that you allow private sector to participate with the government in providing things that make life comfortable. You allow what? Private sector to participate. You see today now, private sector is already participating in the what? In the security arm. There are those that government have already issued license to begin to run private security organizations. You want to travel to anywhere in Middle East now, in the Middle Belt now, you have to go and use them because the government has said you can no longer use police for individual escort again. So if you are coming from, you are from places like Middle Belt, like Kwara, like Kogi State, like Niger, and the likes now. You want to travel to your place and you are a private person. The private sector participation is already available in the area of security, whereby there are those that police have licensed that they can also run as security outfit. So they can carry gun, they can do practically quite a number of things to protect lives and what of individuals and the citizenry. I recently attended a function in one of the Middle Belt states. 2 e-locks full of security were hired, and they are from what? Private sector participation. They were fully kitted, fully armed to do protection of life jobs, to offer security. But they are not the conventional police in Nigeria. Because can Nigerian police go everywhere? Can they offer the max, the entire security that is? How many are they? Let's be sincere to ourselves. So government is allowing private to come on board, even in some critical areas. Hello? Hello? Are we still
Yes,
there?
sir, we are here, sir. We are here, sir.
Okay. I've earlier talked about privatization. I've earlier talked about commercialization. Talked about privatization as the process from where government decided that, okay, we exit ownership of this business, we transfer the ownership to private individuals. When that takes place, we call it what? Privatization. But I told us that it's not in all cases that privatization takes place. That means that government does not have any interest again. In some cases, government will retain few shares, few percentage, maybe 30%, 40%, but government will release the management responsibility of such organization to the private persons so that they can help the government to make profit, to make income from it. Because once it's individuals from private that is managing it, the issue of corruption, stealing, and all those things will stop. No private person will put his money into business and watch anybody stealing. No. They will put CCTV everywhere. They will enough security. They will do so many things to make sure that all the attempts to steal will be apprehended and be exposed. Because it's their own money. How can you come there and be stealing money from them? We scrutinize to the core. And so that's what government is unable to do. In a particular place, they were employing. And they employ more than what those people in the department requested. And when the person heading the department said, "Oh, we only requested for 3 people. Now, how come you bring 12 people?" They shouted at the HOD there. "Excuse me, this is government work. Is it your father's work? Are they using your father's money to pay the excess people?" But if it is private, will you go and employ additional 9 people where they need 3? You dare not do that. You dare not do that. Okay? So, privatization, I told us that privatization is beneficial to both parties. Privatization is beneficial to what? To both the government and the individual that is running the business. That's why we talk about the advantages of what? Privatization. It brings the control to private individuals. Government is out of control, so you can no longer say it's government that employs them. No. If you have an organization, government employs 300 people. After privatization, they may reduce those 300 people to 30. And you will discover that those 30 people, they are doing even more. They are achieving more than what 300 people is achieving. Okay? So government begins to save money because ordinarily, government, if it is being run by government, government will still be paying money for 300 workers every month, but it has saved government money. What 300 people is producing, you now have 30 people producing more than it. Is it not productivity? It's productivity. It's productivity. Okay? Now, this business can grow and begin to have more branches as it's making money, and eventually more people are being employed because it's being managed very well. Expansion is there, and everybody is happy. The government is happy, the owners, they are happy, and so on. Okay? You can see now, where do you see government really exporting apart from the crude oil? Well, every other thing that is being exported now are being exported by major key players from private sector. So it assists. You see Dangote now that is exporting even the finished product, is making more money for himself and is helping Nigerian economy. We say it, number 5, say it helps overcome mismanagement. In government businesses, there's mismanagement, particularly mismanagement of funds. They exercise monopoly of power because nobody is competing with them. When there is monopoly, that is, nobody is competing. But when it is deregularized and many people are into business and private, they are competing. And the competition will bring them to their right senses. It helps in moderating the amount of securities available for trading on the stock exchange. Because you discover that when the business is doing very well, many people want to become part owner of that business, especially if it is a quoted business. I explained all those ones in our last class when I was telling us the difference between private limited liability company and public limited liability company. Public limited liability company are those companies that you can get their shares on the floor of Nigerian Stock Exchange, but you cannot get that of the private limited liability company. So, privatization, it has disadvantages like financial, political, and social. Environmental factors too can also apply. Commercialization, which I've also shed light upon earlier. Commercialization. Commercialization, we say, is the reorganization of enterprise that are only or partly owned by the federal government so that they function as profit-making commercial venture without subvention from the federal government. That is, government has been using money that, okay, monthly, we'll be supporting this ministry with 1 billion. But it's okay, no, we'll be supporting this department every month with 1 billion. We will be supporting this agency 1 billion every month. Say, no, we are no longer going to support your agency again with any money. Whatsoever service you are offering now, begin to charge money for it. Okay? Begin to charge money for it to cover your costs at least. So what the government is doing and is not charging fee for it before, once the department begins to do it to charge fee for it, which means they have withdrawn from using government money to support it, to finance it. It has to be the self-finance business in now. So when the business becomes a self-finance business, it has become a commercialized business. Let me give you a simple example. You know how to weave hair as a lady. You have been weaving for your friends, weaving for your relations, but maybe you've graduated from school and you now say, okay, I will begin to do it as a commercial business, not as a voluntary service again. Anybody who comes to me to weave is going to pay. So you have gone commercialized. Okay? What you are doing now is now commercialization. You know how to cut hair very well. You have clipper, you can hold it very well. You have been cutting to people free of charge, maybe in your schooling days, but after schooling, I say, okay, I'm going to go and rent a shop, put my clippers there and design the place, and whosoever comes in now, we have to pay. So you have commercialized that your skill. So when government is charging money for what it has not been charging money before, or what it has been doing free before, is what? Commercialization. If government say, okay, well, we will not be doing it at profit, but we just be doing it to cover expenses. We call it partial commercialization. But when government is doing it to cover the expenses and also make some profit, is what? Full commercialization. How many of you are into full commercialization already? How many of you are into partial commercialization already? Maybe the year you are making now, you are just saying, okay, well, I will just charge people small money so that I can be able to pay for the shop. That's all. That's partial. But if you now say, well, I will charge enough money to pay for the shop, pay some other expenses, pay the PHDM bill, whatever, and also make money to be able to buy clothes and pay my rent and other things and live meaningful life, then that's full commercialization. Full commercialization. So both commercialization and privatization, they are being practiced by governments. They are being what? Practiced by all these things we have mentioned today. All of them are already being practiced by what? Government. I've shown you how Lagos State is practicing public-private partnership, and you see private sector participating even in the waste disposal in their role and quite a number of other areas. Okay. So as long as they sound so good too, they have their challenges, which we have also discussed. So I want to appreciate as many of us as have been able to be part of this class today. Thank you for listening. So if you have any question now, please don't hesitate to ask. So I am aware that some of you might still have some class you want to enter very soon.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Please, I don't know if you can briefly explain on the commercialization aspect when you talk about full commercialization and all of that. Hello, sir. I don't know if you can hear me. Or has the class ended already?
The class is still on. Just hold on.
Hello, sir.
Network has been bad. I couldn't even understand that part.
Hello, sir. I'm not sure maybe the lecture was still on.
The man don't come
Hello,
out.
sir.
The man don't come out already.
Chill.
You sure?
Hold
I
on.
think so.
It's still
Hold on.
here.
He's still here. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say they play music, me stop.
Hello, sir.
Esther Obalade,
Hello, sir.
please mute
His
your video.
mic is off. Just hold on.
Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Somebody asked me to shed light on commercialization. And I shed light on it. I said, what government has been doing, and government is not charging any money or any fee for it. When government begins to do it to charge fee, we call it what? Commercialization. If government is charging fee to only cover for the costs, then we call it partial commercialization. But when government is now charging fee to cover both the costs and to also make money, that is profit, we call it what? Full commercialization. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir, it's clear. Sir, but it was not so, Dabi. The
No,
commercialization.
sir, please come again. It's not clear. Please come again, sir, please.
Government has been offering a service in the past. Government has been offering a responsibility to the masses in the past. But government
Okay.
now say enough. We no longer do it free of charge again. We are going to begin to charge as we render this to the masses. We are going to pay for it. When you begin to pay for what government has been offering you free of charge before, that's commercialization. And if what government is now charging you for what you have been paid for before, if what is charging you is just to cover the costs, it's partial commercialization. But when we are not being charged in a way that government is making profits from what they are charging you, then it's full what? Privatization. Clear to you now? Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And I
sir.
told us that this slide, I will make this slide available to your class governors.
Please, I have a
Mute your
question.
mics now, please. Let us
So
understand.
let all the class governors chat up with me after the class. And please, class governors, chat up with me after the class so that we can make arrangement for you to have the slide. Okay, thank you. Have a very nice weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Please, I have a question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have you seen him? All I've been like this.